So now that we finally have all the necessary tools installed, let's write a very simple fine application. So I just started up Visual Studio Code and I'm going to open a folder and I will choose one from my desktop. I created a folder called Fine and I created a folder called Hello World. So I'm going to open this folder, Hello-World. Okay? And the very first thing I have to do is to open my terminal. And of course, go mod, try that again, go mod init, and I'm going to call mine fine HW for fine hello world. You can call it whatever you want. So it's now created a new go mod file for me. And now I need to go get fine. And that's simple. Go get fine.io /fine/v2. And if v3 is out, please use v2 for right now until I get the course updated for version 3. Okay, but let's get started. So I hit this and it goes and gets it for me. It's added it to my go mod file. Now, if you look at the instructions inside the actual documentation for Fine, what they tell you to do is to type go mod tidy. And that might work on some operating systems, but it's never worked for me. So don't do that, okay? Ignore that bit of the documentation. Instead, let's close our terminal and create a new Go file called main.go. Okay, and it's in package main. And we'll start writing a very simple fine application, just a hello world. So one function, func main as usual. And inside of that, the very first thing I'm going to do is say A is assign the value of app dot, and hopefully it will find the necessary find thing for me. Now it hasn't yet, but I'll say new. Okay, and then up here, I'll go manually import this. For some reason, I have to do this. It could be my machine, but in any case, this will work. We'll import fine with a lowercase f, fine.io /fine/v2/app. Okay? Now, I've created a little variable called a, and this is my fine application. The fact that I'm getting an error up here, just ignore that for right now. That'll go away momentarily, okay? So I have an application. Every fine application has to have at least one window, or there's nothing to look at. So I'll declare a variable, w, for window, and that's assigned the value of from A, call new window, okay? And give that window a title, and I'll call mine hello world, like that. So I have an application, I have a window, can't do anything yet. But what I'm going to do now is put some content inside that window. And typically what you're going to put inside a window is something called a container. We're not going to deal with that for a couple of lectures, but we'll get there shortly. And you also can put a widget. And a widget is just like it sounds. It's a widget. It could be a label. It could be a text entry. It could be a button. It could be something like that. And what I'm going to do, just to get this going, is set the content of my window. w.setContent, right there. And I'm going to set the content of that window to be a widget. From the widget package, which is part of Fine, dot, I'll put in a new label. And the label is going to be, no surprises here, hello world. Okay? And then I will start my application. And we can do that with this command, w, which is my window, dot show and run, right there. Okay? Now at this point, this is when I open my terminal window. When I have enough code written that I'm actually using my imports, now I type go mod tidy. Okay? And you see my errors went away. Now let's run our application. Go run dot. And the very first time I press enter to compile this and run it, it's going to take a little while because it has to do some compilation with C in the background. That's why we have our C compiler installed. But after you've done that once, things are much faster. So let's hit return and wait a little while it compiles everything in the background. And there it is. So not very impressive, but we have a window and I can resize this window and I can drag it around. And on a Mac, I can minimize it and maximize it. So if I hold down my Option key, it takes up the whole screen. And then if I hit the green button again, it goes back to the full screen. It takes over everything. So I'll make it smaller. There. So we have started our fine application. And I can quit it on a Mac by coming up to the menu here that's called Find HW. By default, that's the name of the package, but we can change that, and we will before too long. And I can choose Quit. Or I could have come down the terminal and hit Control-C, and that stopped it. But as you can see, if you ignore the imports and the function definition, I wrote 4 lines of code, and I started up an application. Now, it's not a very exciting application, but let's make it more exciting, and we'll get started on that in the next lecture.